Hi, Neeraj ji. How
Hi,
are you?
Latha. Hi.
How are you?
Very well, very well.
Very well, great. And how's the lockdown been treating you? All well, all safe at home?
Yes. I've been busy for the last 3, 4 months, obviously, but having said this, it's also saddening to know what's happening, you know. So I don't think I really could um, relish or enjoy the lockdown as much as I was wondering why are we going through all these things, in the world. And it does sadden you. It also prepares you to understand how should we now be behaving with ourselves and the planet. You know, that's the first thing that comes to my mind now after having been in this period for the last 3, 4 months, like everybody else. One is just wondering this, what is the change that we need to bring about in ourselves? I don't think this pandemic is about a little virus. It's a pause that the universe has asked us to take and saying you better think and do things with wisdom. Otherwise, you guys are doomed.
Yeah.
So
No,
that's all it is.
absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you because it's brought the world to a standstill.
Yes.
So, and I think that's very scary for everyone.
Yeah.
So a lot of fans of yours have already joined. They love your work in Paatal Alok. They love your work in Sacred Games.
Oh, lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, and of course, Avrodh, the recent series in Sony Live. But Neeraj, of course, you have a very long history in the space of acting. A repertoire has been fantastic, whether in cinema, in theatre. You're also an acting coach, like I was just telling them, which is awesome. Um, but starting off with the web series that you've done, all three of them have been super hits. Do you think services, the OTT platforms, have been fantastic for actors like yourself and even for celebs? For A-listers, forget about just other actors who are not such as yourself. You are of course an established. So there are many actors who are struggling to find a foothold in the industry. But I think it's a great boon for them as well because now the world of opportunities has opened up, isn't it?
Yes, I will agree with that completely. If you talk about the three mediums of cinema, television, and OTT, then I think OTT has opened up in such a vast way that it has given not just established actors opportunities to explore things that we had never done before, but also people who are aspiring to be actors or technicians or whatever you might call. That's opened up a whole, it's an ocean of opportunities right now available. It just depends on how hard you're willing to work and how much you're willing to put your talent out there and express yourself. I think that's really opened up very beautifully, and the content that has come into OTT is phenomenal, and it's on the rise. It's really on the rise. So many people are now getting into this. Very established writers, directors, producers, even feature films are now being launched on OTT. It's a great opportunity, a beautiful time right now, a wonderful time for people to explore creative talent at this point of time and to see where else can we extend and expand ourselves so that in the coming years, the quality of our films also improve and the quality of television also improves. I see it that
Yes.
way.
Absolutely. Speaking about content, you've had three diverse characters in each of these, web series, and very strong characters as well. Was your preparation different, given that, these are like each show is about 45 minutes to 50 minutes or an hour long, unlike a feature film, which is about 2.5 hours. So the kind of prep that you did as an actor, was there a lot of difference in that?
I really wouldn't say that, Lata, because that when we prepare, especially when I prepare for a role as an actor, um, it's the character that I'm focusing on, the film context as a whole, and the scenes that I will be doing. So I really don't put my mind into what is the platform going to be, because that could be a very disturbing element sometimes. Yes, if you're doing theater, then the preparations are the same, but the performance expressions are different. The theater is a full-fledged, space where there are no long shots, and there are no close-ups, there are no mid-closes. It's just one long shot. So your performance expressions are very different. But if you remove the theater and if you just take television, OTT, and films, then the preparations are the same, absolutely the same. That it does not differ at all. what platform you're taking. But yes, the preparations have to be very intensive to understand that there's a slight difference though. When you're doing OTT, because of the tool or the instrument of watching this is, let's say, a mobile phone or an iPad or a laptop, most shots that are taken on the OTT platform in terms of the structure of filming it is mostly closes or mid closes. So when you're doing that, you need to understand as a performer what you could do in a long shot or what you could do in a mid shot is different from what you would do in a close-up or an extreme close-up. That difference you have to understand. So you need to pull up all the energies that is inside your entire body into the face, into the eyes. That pulling up is a training. You just can't emote only or express only with the eyes or the face. The whole body expresses. It's just that you choose to create the entire energy ball and push it up to the face level because it's an extreme. Otherwise, the whole body is performing. Your toes perform as much as your eyes and your fingers perform. That's the way you prepare.
Okay. Um, uh,
I'm sorry, I'm getting into now acting also.
no, that's great. I mean, somebody who is also an acting coach gives you a very different perspective. But given that all three series that you did were such big hits, right? What is the space you're in today? I mean, it's very different from a film, right? Because it's, one Friday, box office, and all that, whereas a web series is totally different. It's there in perpetuity and um, uh, the feel and the emotions. And I don't know, somehow even as an audience member, for me, I would go back, like I've seen Paatal Alok twice already, so Sacred Game is twice or thrice. So for me, it's like every time I watch it, I just enjoy it even more. Um, Unlike a film sometimes.
Yeah, that's there because see, when we know that the work that you're doing is accessible at any time, at any point of time, whereas, like you said, going into a film is, it's from Friday to Friday, and then now you work on or you pray that the film lasts for the next Friday or till the next Friday after that. On the OTT, it's not like that. It's going to be there for eternity. It's people can watch it anytime that they want to. Having said this, you're always working in your own mind that the work that you do is going to remain throughout. So sometimes you feel, unlike in films, you feel that, okay, I'm part of this project or this property and I'll be working, and maybe about 2 weeks or 3 weeks from now, and the film will go away. People will forget what I've done. And my new work will come in. Over here, people revisit your work.
Yeah.
So even after they've seen Paatal Lok, people are going back to Ship of Theseus and
Yeah,
seeing
exactly.
my
Yeah.
work in Byomkesh Pakshi. They're seeing
Yeah.
Talwar again. They're
Yeah.
watching once again the romantic film which I did. So people go back. Now that's a very different a space in which a performer is working all the time. Everything, a lot has changed right now, because the thought process with which you perform now, you are very aware that people are going to go back to every work of yours. So you can't get away saying that, okay, people have a short memory. Maybe this film may not do well or may do well. That's fine, or my performance may not be lauded. It's okay. It's about 4 weeks from now and it'll all be forgotten. My next work will come in. It's not so anymore. All your work is up there. People are going to visit everything that you do. I think it's a good thing in a way, is that we will continuously work towards excellence. We will
Right.
not give up as actors because now we are having an open-minded audience coming and they are loving you so much. You need to give back much, much more than what they are giving you. I believe in that a lot. If the audience gives you one clap, you give them your whole heart. That's how you prepare as an actor. It's not giving them flying kisses or saying thank yous or giving them some kind of a, symbol or whatever, or hashtags or whatever. You give them your performance. That's how an actor shows his love for his audience. So the more you work, the more excellence you achieve, the more you are with your audience. And that's the love
Right.
they'll give you throughout. Yeah.
So how do you keep fine-tuning your craft, like to make sure that you're not getting repetitive in any of your performances? Because, like you say, now the audiences are watching closely, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you ensure that you don't get repetitive and your craft also keeps evolving with time?
You have to be alive to the world and to humanity. You know, there's a lovely saying by J. Krishnamurti. He says, I cannot quote him exactly because I forget exactly what the words were, but it was something to this extent. He said that a normal human being is considering or is concerned with his problems, with his personal questions, with his personal confusions, whereas a spiritual being is concerned with the total poverty of the world, with the total confusion of the world, with the total problems of the world. I would like to replace the word spiritual with actor. An actor is always concerned with the total issues of the world and the universe. He is not concerned with what he is going through personally. And the moment you spread yourself like this and expand yourself like this, then you're concerned about the total confusion of humanity. You're concerned with the total poverty of humanity. You're concerned with the total growth of humanity. When you're doing that, then your expressions will change every time you do something. You will not find an easy way saying, I know this trick or this, tool. I can use it and I know I can amuse my audiences. I think it's a very wrong way to address your audience. It's demeaning your audience. So I personally never use things like tricks or tools to somehow pull off. I don't like these terms, like you pull off a character. No, you don't pull it off. You're an actor. You perform that. You give it a complete expression, that character. That's why you're called an actor. You don't say that, okay, he's an actor who I think can pull off this role. No, you don't say. It's like a doctor or a gynac. You can't say that he'd pull off this operation. You are there. You're called a doctor because you can do everything that is required. An actor can do everything that is required. And that's how you keep yourself alive. You need to train every day. Training is very, very crucial, I feel. Training in your craft, not just going to the gym. Training in your craft is very essential. All the time, your mind should be working with expressions, with this craft of acting. What can I do to become this now? How can I change the way I've been expressing characters so far? How do I change the methodologies to now evolve into something far better than what I've done? Also, I choose characters that are not repetitive. I don't like to take things that I've done earlier. And when I do a role, I transform as much as I can, not just physically, even emotionally and mentally, as much as I can. But the outer look is not very crucial for me. I mean, I do it because I need to look different. But the issue over here is not how you look outside. It's what you're doing inside your system. All of acting happens within the actor, not outside. Outside is just the expression of it. It's the monitor. But the processing is inside. Now, I've changed my look right now. I've shaven off everything. It's for a performance I'm going to be doing now for a feature film. Okay. But for me, this is not very crucial. For me, what's happening with this now inside me is what will reflect on this face. That is more important for me. And that is what I want the audiences to relish. Not to say, oh, he's changed his look or he's put on weight. That's a very small thing to do for an actor.
Yeah. That's very superficial as well. It doesn't mean anything at the end of the day, I think. But you've been in the industry quite some time, and I'm sure you've had your fair share of, ups and downs and struggles and successes. And how would you, if you were to just describe your journey in a couple of sentences, how would you describe it so
far? It's been long and arduous, very, very arduous and long. At times very tiring because I've been trying to attempt this craft and to become what you call the actor ever since I left my college in 1991. Now that's a long, long time.
Where did you study?
At that time, I'm sorry?
Where did you study, if I may ask?
I was studying in Pune. I was doing my commerce at that time. And from then, I desired to be an actor because I was doing a lot of college plays and productions in which I was doing fairly well in them and winning a couple of Best Actor awards. And so things changed from there because I wanted to do something else altogether. I never wanted to be an actor ever in my life. But it's there that things began to change. I began to attempt and began to work right from then on, going to auditions, trying my luck. Everything began from there. But can you imagine from then to 2011 till I got Ship of Theseus, 21 long years, nothing happened. Nothing.
Oh my God.
I couldn't get through a single audition in my lifetime. And so I had to do a lot of odd jobs to make a living. I had to survive. So I did everything. So what happened was in my college, I was this student of the year. winner, you know. And here I was, absolutely grounded to the, totally grounded with nothing at all. So, you start zero, you start with all your egos crushed, and you begin now. You need to combat your fear from moment to moment, day to day, and carry on with only one vision in your head, that you want to be this actor that you've designed for yourself, and you will not give up. I think that's what kept me going for 21 long years, despite everything. So many things have happened, but I've never liked to describe that entire journey, because that's my strength. So I've never spoken about it at length ever for any interview. Neither have I gotten it published. It's a very, very private treasure for me. That's where I draw from everything. All my anger, my non-violence, my spirituality, to my romance, everything comes from those 21 years of this dark period that I felt that I should become an actor. When I say dark, I don't mean sad necessarily. I mean a space where I did not know where I was going. But at the same time, I was running. I always ran. I wasn't an athlete. So I always felt I must run. And I was a soldier. So I felt I must run like a soldier. And I told myself one day, if I'm not the soldier of my art, then I will never survive. I have to become a soldier. I have to be real tough, real tough. My nerves have to become the nerves of steel. If I don't do that, I'll collapse. And that's how the whole thing began. So I still haven't given up, even now. I still haven't done the kind of work I want to do. I'm still waiting for that to happen. I'm still waiting for writers and producers to offer those kinds of projects that I've always dreamt of doing. So it'll come. I know it'll come, because so far things have happened, maybe after many years. Although I did a film in 1997, it's a feature film produced by the NFDC. It was a regional film it was an Odia feature film by Mr. AKB. It won the national award as well. The film, it went to a few festivals abroad. But after that, nothing happened again. When that happened, I felt I made it. And that happened in 1997 or 98, I think. 8 years after I thought that I would want to do this. So that's how the journey has been. But it has been a blessing in a way, because I got to experience so much of life, so much of understanding of human relations, human emotions, humanity at large. That's the biggest thing that you have to learn as an actor and experience. You're out there, you're in life with life. You get drenched in the rain, you get scorched in the heat, and you freeze in the winter. If you are not there with your body outside and allowing the universe to batter you up, you can never become an actor. Acting is not done in closed, air-conditioned studios, reading books and philosophies. That is only one small element of acting training. You have to get out there and experience life and feel and sense it in the absolute deepest core of your being. That's how it is.
You've always dabbled in theatre, isn't it? You've always had one foot in the theatre. You've never kind of let that go.
Yeah.
Does that, is it because, it always gives you a different perspective? Because being live in front of an audience is a completely different feeling than, doing television or cinema. So, do you enjoy that connect with the audience, doing it live, and therefore you always, don't ever want to give up theatre, because that enhances your acting as well on screen?
Yeah, it's a very different experience being in the theater. You have a live audience out there, and there are no retakes.
Yeah.
So it's scary. It's really scary. The moment you enter the stage from the wings, in fact, right in the wings, as you wait to enter, those couple of seconds just before you step onto the stage, it's really scary, because you get butterflies in your stomach. You're shivering at that point of time, although you've had years of experience of work in the theater, but you still shiver at that moment. And the moment you enter, till you exit, there is no retake. And there's a live audience sitting out there, looking at you, judging you, doing everything possibly they can, loving you, doing everything. You're out there, and it's a space that is linear. It's not like you're shooting the last scene today, the first scene tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's linear. It progresses linear. So you're there with your full body exposed to an audience, your voice exposed. And the thing about the theater is that you cannot be within yourself. Whatever you do has to be an extrovert expression. It has to go out there. You cannot keep it to yourself. So it's one thing that you feel something very powerfully, is another thing that you express that feeling across the stage to the audience. That, I think, is the process of acting. And that is why theatre remains the absolute foundation for an actor. Because that's where you learn everything. That's where you learn that your feeling is not as important as you making the audience feel what you're feeling. That's the whole training that you require. Because to feel yourself is very easy. I mean, we all can feel tragedy, we can feel romance, we can feel anything. But how do you put that process into that of the audiences and make them feel exactly the way you're feeling? Make them breathe the way you are breathing. That's what theatre gives you, which cinema does not. Because cinema, you only get to see once the whole product is over, you see it, it's premiered, then you're watching it with the audience. And then you look at the audience. That's what we do when we see the first show of our own film. You're not looking at the film as much as you're looking at audiences and how are they breathing, what are they doing, are they smiling, are they feeling sad? In the theatre, it's immediate, it's right there. So you can do what you want over there. You know, you're always with them. This is the expression of the theatre. And it is the absolute foundation. I think you learn everything over there. You learn discipline, you learn characterization, you learn voice training, you learn script analysis, you learn how to work with a co-actor, you learn how to characterize yourself. Everything happens in the theatre. It's an awesome medium.
But you're also an acting coach, right? Which I think is great. I mean, given your experience and talent, obviously. But what are some of the key things you tell, you know, aspiring actors who come to you for training? Is there, like, do you tell them go out and experience life, which is something you said right now?
I'm
But
sorry, Latha,
you
I'm
also,
not able to hear you very well. I'm so sorry. There's a
can
slight,
you hear me?
this is slightly better. Yeah. If you
Can you
don't
hear
mind,
me
could you
now?
please repeat the question? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, I said you're also an acting coach, right? So what's the kind of things you tell aspiring actors? One, of course, you said you must experience life, and you also said theatre is a strong foundation. Um, what are some of the key factors you tell them? Because today there are so many youngsters who come not just into the film industry, they're also in television on television and of course on TV. So what is some of the key advice you give them today?
You know, apart from just teaching the craft to them, some things that I always reiterate and I keep on emphasizing in the workshop is that merely going to the gymnasium every evening and having food that will make your body look good is not part of work or struggle or training of an actor. I always tell them, please do not consider this to be any part of making you an actor. That's the first thing. Going for auditions is again not in the realm of work. These two areas I totally alienate from what you call I am working towards being an actor. So that settles them
Okay.
immediately because they keep
Okay.
feeling, a lot of the people who come keep feeling that, look, I go for auditions at least about 3 to 4 hours a day, and then I'm at the gym for 3 hours a day. It's 7 hours of work. What else do you want me to do? So we tell them both of these, neither of these are called work. They are your choices. You want to do them, you do them. Real work is the training of the actor. When you wake up 4 in the morning and you begin to train your physical body at that time, your breath at that time. There's yoga, there's martial forms like Kalaripayattu, there are
Yeah.
dance forms like Chow and Kathakali. You need to train in all these forms every single morning. You need to train in pranayam and breath techniques because that will help you to emote. Emotions are connected with breath. If you do not know breath, you can never have emotions. You might feel something, but you can never express it on the screen. It'll be very difficult if you don't understand the science of breathing. Then there are techniques of acting, of speech delivery, of performances. Everybody has to train in those and spend at least 4 to 5 hours only training as an actor every single day. Then, if you want, you can go to the gym. That's your choice if you want to look good. That does not come in the realm of acting training at all. Going to auditions is again your choice. So we tell them that if you're going to work like this every day, and in the evenings we always encourage them to read plays, read literature, read poetry, look at paintings, read history, read biographies. Don't spend your time merely watching films. Just watching films that have won Oscars or whatever will never make you an actor. You can enjoy those films. You will never get to know how a Daniel Day-Lewis works. You will never get to know how a Nasiruddin Shah works. You'll never get to know by watching their films. You can watch how they perform, to what excellent levels they perform, but you will never know their trick or their tool. You have to train yourself. You have to get on the ground and train. So this is given to them as a regime of daily work. This is what we call work. Before you go to sleep, you train, you memorize lines. So just before you go to sleep, we tell them, take an entire passage and begin to memorize them. The next day, speak these very lines about 500 times throughout the day, whatever you're doing. You can be making a breakfast, making a tea, keep on saying the lines. That's how you live as an actor. This is the way of life of the actor. You don't think, what is the audition today? Or will I get this role or not? That's not your job. Your job is to work. So when you work like this, we always tell them, aspiring actors, when you work and prepare so much, you will generate something called an aura, which will attract great work for you. But if you go to work all the time with an empty system, which is not trained, you will never get that job. You can go for 100 auditions, nothing will happen. Instead, if you train 100 times, that work will come to you. You don't even have to go for that. So this is what gives them a lot of encouragement to start to work and live like an actor. It's very important to live like an actor, which is waking up early, doing your physical training, doing your breath training, training in your craft, in the evening spending time on reading, literature, etc. At night, memorizing lines and saying the lines throughout the day. This is called the life of an actor. And then experiencing life, of course, being involved with life. If you see something happening, go involve yourself. You may not be related to those people, but go involved. That's where you experience life. Now, that's quite a plateful, I think. If you can do that every single day, then they will remain focused always. You will never get discouraged. Even if you don't get work for a long, long time, you don't have food in your stomach for a long, long time, you don't have money in your pocket for a long, long time, you will never get discouraged because you're living the life of an actor. You will become strong. We've spent so many years like this, so many years. So we know what it means to be this. That's why we can say and talk about these things.
Right. One of the other things that I wanted to ask you about is, there's so much debate going on in media and even otherwise, about this insider, outsider in Bollywood and favoritism and nepotism. But of course, you've been in the industry for 10 years now. Do you, and in one of the interviews I read, you have to focus on your talent, and when you say focus on your talent, and then obviously work will come to you. So you still obviously believe that.
I absolutely believe in this because it's very difficult to fight something called nepotism or whatever you might want to call it. I still do not completely comply with this word fully. I still feel there's a lot of space in the industry. We're only probably moving or looking at certain pockets of it, and we are generalizing the entire thing. I think OTT has proved it, that it is welcoming everybody with open arms to come and participate in creating anything you want to, writers, actors, costume designers, art directors, everybody. It's foolproof. You can see it happening. When you speak about insider, outsider, it's only happening in certain pockets. And for you have to take a decision whether you want to fight those very pockets for a long, long time, because that's not easy to fight. It's been there for many years. Either you do that or you focus on raising the bar. You have two choices. The choice is yours. Neither of them is wrong or right. It's your choice what you do. I have chosen not to fight that. Although one has experienced that a lot, one decides I don't want to, because then that's a different focus altogether. Your efforts, your energies will go somewhere else. And I felt it's more profitable if I can raise the bar and let the work call me instead of doing this. And one more thing I believe in, this cannot last too long, this insider-outsider concept. Once new work will come in, new concepts will come in, new talent will come in, new content will be desired by the audiences. You cannot stick to the same people all the time. you will have to
Yeah.
expand and you will have to look out for other talents. It will happen. And one more thing,
But I think,
I personally feel, that when you say insider, outsider, it's also unfair to the so-called insiders. There are so many wonderful children of the family, film family backgrounds. They're so good. And I think we're being unfair to them sometimes. To say that, you are the only ones who get the work, but you are good. Some of them are really good, and I feel bad because then they are the victims of this then. And you can't fight this anymore. It's a very private decision. Where a producer wants to take a talent, that's a very private call. It's not a government organization. It's not legal and bounding that you have to be taking such and such actor only and not more than twice in a film or not more than 3 times in certain films. There are no rules. Yeah.
I also read you're doing a Hollywood web series. That sounds very exciting. Is there anything you can tell us, or it's like all under wraps right now?
It's under wraps. I cannot reveal anything.
Okay,
So yeah, we are
okay,
bound under contract, so we can't say anything. But yes, it's a very, very wonderful web series, and it's a
okay.
very. I'm happy to be doing a very. Um, um, I won't say the lead role. It's not that, but it's one of those very major roles in the entire series, which
And
you
it
would
must
say
be
that.
something very different from what you've done, isn't it?
Yes, yes, slightly, not very, but slightly different. And yeah, it's going to be lasting. It's got an ensemble cast, so it's lovely to be, working with performers from all over the world. So that's
Okay,
that's lovely. Yeah.
okay. And what else are you working on? After the success of these web series in India, are you, where are we going to see you next as far as India is concerned?
There's an upcoming film by Debaka Banerjee,
Okay,
which is called. So I won't be naming all these things, but
okay,
there's a Debaka Banerjee feature film which will be. I think they will release it on Netflix. That's where it will
okay.
come. It's a feature film. It's a very beautiful concept that he's working on. We finished shooting for that. So it's under post production at this point of time. There's another one which I will begin to shoot the moment this gets over. Is another
Okay,
Hindi feature film which I'm performing with one of the leading actresses of the industry.
okay,
So I'll be working on that immediately after this. And then we, in this, the lockdown period that we had, we were reading a lot of scripts and
okay.
trying to negotiate and finalize on certain projects. So we've been able to finalize one project down south at this point of time. But what it is and how it will go, I cannot reveal all that. So this is what is
Yes,
right
so
now.
the buzz here down south is that you're doing a film with Ajit. So
Is
that
it?
is the
No,
buzz.
no, no,
I
no.
don't know,
This,
that's what people, it's not, right?
no, it's not. It's not. This is
Okay.
a
But is
different
it
thing.
a Tamil film or is it a Telugu
I
film? Can
cannot
you
say
tell us
anything.
that? Okay. Super, super. So, Neeraj, is there anything you want to tell your fans? Because every single one of them really has mentioned Stripper Theseus, and some of them have spoken about your role as Gandhi, which they loved. Is there anything? Oh, you're doing a film with Nag Ashwin, somebody says.
I'm doing a film with Nag Ashwin. Oh no.
Director Nag Ashwin. Okay. Anyway, speculation is right. So is there something you'd like to tell all your fans?
One thing definitely is that I am overwhelmed with the response of my audience, especially the youth and even adults. I mean, it's been so overwhelming to realize that they're giving you so much of love and they watch all your work. It's not just one series or one film that people are talking about. There are so many of them who've watched all your work and they continuously are either, sending me text messages, calling me on WhatsApp or Insta or wherever. It's overwhelming to realize that people are expanding their sensibilities to watch all kinds of cinema and all kinds of film. That is creating a huge space for me to really get excited about performing various roles and even doing things I've never done in my lifetime. For example, I've never done comedy. I really want to get in that genre. I've done so many other things. I'm doing, and I want to do this simply because I know there's an audience out there that's waiting to see everything that I'm giving them. And that's something wonderful. That's something very, very encouraging. And all that I can say is continuously thank them again and again and again for being there. It's really beautiful. It's every actor does not get so much of love. It's only a few who are deserving of an audience who will give you their love. And if you happen to be one of the few, and if you happen to be one of the favorites of the audiences, then it's all gratitude towards them, all love towards them. I think it's a blessing to realize that people love you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for chatting with me, Neeraj. It was super
Thank
fun,
you,
and
love.
of course, really wonderful speaking to you. I've loved your work. Seen a lot of your, of course, seen all the OTT shows, and of course, seen your films as well. And it was really awesome speaking to you. Thank you
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye to the audiences as well. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much.